Roslyn Griner, 60 years old, influencer, beauty, fashion, fitness, Instagram 12.3K, TikTok 70K. Your background and the thing you do today also, it's consulting work in marketing.
Right.
What's the social media teach you in 2023?
I think it really taught me the value of community, of connection. And I started it during the pandemic, really seriously. I mean, I was always into Instagram, even when I was working at Reitman's or other companies. But for me, it was like to demonstrate to potential, employers that I was digitally savvy. But also, I was lonely. Remember, we were so isolated during COVID. I was single. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a husband. So I was alone in my apartment. So it was this way of reaching out through my phone to connect with human beings.
I congratulate you on this because, yes, we were lonely in your apartment, but the strength of not having fear to do it at an age where it's not old to be 60, it's not old to be 50, it's not old to be 70. It's not old. Old is just an age. But I mean, what made you, were you scared at the beginning of what people were going to say?
No, because I've always been sort of like, you get to a certain point in your life where the weight of other people's opinions don't matter to you as much.
Okay.
So I've never really listened, like people criticizing the way I look or what I do or how I dress. I always did it, if I look in the mirror and I feel confident, that's all that counts. If people don't like it, I always say, style is such a personal thing. Everybody has their own individual style. I'm just demonstrating and showcasing what I do. I'm not telling people that they have to dress like me or look like me. I just share what I do. And if people find that of interest, then that's how I've built my community.
But I'm sorry, I see you dressed right now and you don't have anything different than anybody else. I mean, it's nothing that we never saw. It's just, what is it that makes you not better than another person? You know what I mean? Like the way you dress fabulous. Keep going.
I know, but sometimes I'll take more risks. If you've seen my feed,
Yes.
Today is a bit more conservative. This morning I was at a PR event. I was wearing a sheer see-through top. I mean, it depends on my mood, how I feel. I did the no pants look, which, I like to test out all the trends and sort of see, does it work on a mature woman? Does it not? I feel like I have the body and, because I've earned it. I've worked hard to remain fit and strong so I can wear whatever I please.
Good. Keep going. Please do.
I will continue.
Please continue.
Probably till I'm 80.
Not even. If you don't want to stop, you don't stop.
I know.
I mean, what made you like the look rock and roll?
Yeah.
It's your signature with a lot of jewelry.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah, I have a lot of joy.
I love that look.
Yeah.
What made you love fashion this much? When did this start?
I think I inherited my love of fashion from my mother. I mean, honestly, when I was a really young child, she was a seamstress and she used to sew all my clothes. And people would stop me in the street and saying, "Oh my God, I love your outfit." I was really fashionable as a 5-year-old. And also my mother loved Vogue magazine. She used to collect them, you know what I mean? So I think I was so exposed to fashion at a young age, I couldn't help but really fall in love with fashion. So I've always been this way. I always loved dressing up. I always loved, looking and shopping for new outfits. So that was in me from a very young age.
How much shopping do you do?
Too much.
No, but how much shopping do you do? Like, you're so in and fashionable. Every time I look at your TikTok, your Instagram, you know the latest thing. You know what to wear, not to wear. You have comments, you have vlog. You out there. How do you know what's coming in? Yes, it's because it's in
It's
you.
research. I follow a lot of fashion blogs. I follow a lot of fashion content creators, from New York, from Europe. So, I see, for me, Fashion Week is sort of it's the festival of all festivals. I'm glued to my iPad. I see all of the shows. I see all of the trends down the runway.
What's coming?
Yeah. And I love analyzing to see, what's next, And I was always good at sort of seeing what was next, even in business. I always had a mindset of being ahead of the curve. Sometimes I was too ahead of the curve.
Give
And,
me an example.
so when I was at, Additional, we did a collection that I thought was super on trend, but the customers themselves wasn't ready for it, So, and I think it was a lot to do with where the stores were located. They were not fashion customers. The line that we had created performed better online than it did in the physical stores, which told me that the people shopping online were much more sort of avant-garde. They were much more fashion forward. They understood. They were looking for trendy pieces versus the people in the stores. We were in like power centers and strip malls where it was a lower demographic, maybe not into fashion as much. So they were more into basics.
Additional L, it's for bigger, curvy
Correct. It
women.
was for plus women.
How did you manage this? You're little. I mean, you've not. Your body is perfection.
No, but I can identify with a woman, even if I am not that woman. I had, like, for me, when I saw, like, the original store concepts, when I first visited the stores, I was saying, oh my God, it's so sad that this woman doesn't have the same options as I do.
They have a lot of flour.
A lot of flowers, but even so, there's not a lot of stores that if you are a size 18, 20, 22, you don't have a lot of options to shop in a physical store. So that made me sad. And so I wanted to sort of correct that. And, we came up with this position to say, we want to deliver fashion democracy where style is not limited by size or age. And it basically has been sort of my mission, whether it be plus size or, dispelling aged,
Because you're still doing it.
Yeah,
today.
I'm still doing it because I want to dispel the myths of what a woman my age should look like, what she should do, what she should wear, how she should do her makeup, everything. I just want to really dispel those myths that your second act can't be as successful as your first act.
What was your first act?
My first act, you know what? I was not as confident and outgoing when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah.
Because we have to say, we both live at the same time in New York City,
Yeah.
never met.
I know.
You came back here. I would have thought you living in New York will be like me living in New York back then. It was like no door is closed for us.
No, I'm going to say I came into myself in my 30s, and that's when I was in New York. But I would say my younger self, I'm talking about like, high school, university, I wasn't super confident. I had terrible acne. I felt like the ugly duckling. And it's so funny to see how today on social media, these girls with acne are doing makeup and like they're so
Over
proud.
the acne.
They're so confident. So I wasn't like that when I was younger. I felt very alone. I was an only child. I had older parents, that were always sick. And so I always felt like I was lonely. I didn't grow up with a lot of siblings because I was the only child. I didn't have that many friends. I just felt like I grew up and I was always by myself. So
New York was a good place for you then.
Yeah, it was a good place for me because that's when I came into my prime, I would say.
Because New York, we're really alone. We're not there to make babies.
No, but I'm also going to say I was a late bloomer. So, I really came into, understanding what I was all about, what I really liked, who I was as a person, like in my late 30s and 40s. So, some women like are confident when they're in their 20s. Mm-hmm. They know exactly what they want to do. I didn't. I was like sort of like trying to figure it all out.
So are you still in marketing today?
I'm always marketing. I'm marketing myself, but I'm not working. It's been very difficult since I was displaced from my job back in, the last time I was working was in 2021. So I was working for a company and I was laid off. Actually, the first time when I was laid off was Reitman's. And that was really hurtful because I was there for like 8 years and I loved that job. That was like my passion project was Additional. And so when I lost my job, and this is a common occurrence, a new management comes in, they want to like put in their team versus, you're part of the old team, old management team. So I kind of understood it intellectually, but emotionally, I had never been fired. I always considered myself like someone who's successful, who's driven, who's smart, who will figure things out. So, I saw myself as a little bit of a failure when that happened. So
Really?
I had to kind of go back and reinvent myself. I did get another position, subsequently. but they were more short-lived. I don't know. I didn't find my place until I started doing social media. If only it would pay me. I
What do you think doesn't make you get paid? Because you're doing a great job. You're giving content all the time. And it's
I
not
know.
one day you don't talk
I
to
think
us.
I'm actually maybe too generous with brands that I talk about them organically without them paying me. So, but
What do you mean by that?
So,
How are you supposed to make them pay you?
well, I'm just saying I create good content for them, but they haven't paid me for that content. So, and they're benefiting from that content because people are influenced to purchase the products that I'm wearing. So it's difficult unless you can get paid through affiliate links. Other ways that I do earn some money doing social media is I do user-generated content, which means I make TikToks, but for another brand that never appears on my own social media platform. So, for example, I work for a brand called Bonafide. They make supplements for perimenopause and menopause. I do videos. I have a contract where I do 5 videos per month. I get paid a certain amount per video, but it never appears on my platform.
Why?
It's just I don't have to. If I wanted to, I could, but I don't have to talk about those products.
You don't want to?
No, not really. Maybe one day I will.
Because you can help a lot of women.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It is a good product. So
Whatever it is, you know what I mean?
I don't know. It's mainly
because you're so helpful. I can hear you. I can see you. I
Yeah.
see you work. My God, she goes outside at minus 25 and she does content outside in the street. And I'm like, oh my God, does she have a team for that? And I find out you don't. You do everything by yourself. But I think your voice is so powerful right now that you should use them.
I'm really excited because, I did partner with L'Oreal this year to do a campaign for Lancôme.
How did they approach? Tell us the scoop. Come on.
Well, I was actually invited by TikTok to a big conference that they do for the entire L'Oreal group. So I was one of 4 different content creators. There was a gay content creator who does makeup. There was Molly Carlson, who basically is a high diver, an Olympic high diver who does content, an indigenous content creator, and then there was myself. And so I was invited to speak at the conference to really speak to L'Oreal and say, like, how can they better reach my demographic? And I said, you have to stop using the word anti-aging, because I know you think that we're attracted, that we want to turn back the clock, but realistically, it's not a believable claim. No cream can make you turn back the clock. No cream is going to eradicate everything. Like, it's a combination of, I do injectables, I do Botox.
Facelift.
Yes,
This
but I'm
will
just
return.
saying, yeah, but I'm saying you still need good skincare, because you will not have glowing skin if you have a facelift, if you don't take care of your skin.
Your pore will talk.
But I just said, like, I like to use the word ageless beauty, that you cannot pinpoint your age, so it's not about saying you're 60 or 50 or using what I call, like, a woman of 50, she's got gray hair. Like, they use these, like, caricatures of stereotypes of what a woman it's as if, like, it's because they're all 20 years old who work in L'Oreal. And so I feel like they need to give you visual cues so this is an old person.
But we cannot achieve it. We are already under 50s. How can we go?
I know, but I'm saying, I said to the team, some women choose to let themselves go gray.
Yeah.
Some women let themselves age naturally. Other women do plastic surgery. Other women like to dye their hair. You cannot generalize and lump all women over a certain age as this kind of look. And I said, also, I don't like the segregation of creating a line, like a makeup line for women over 50. Because I said, I like to buy Glossier. Is that my target demographic? I don't know, but I like that line. I want to be able to use the L'Oreal line. I don't want you to create a line that says, all old people buy from this aisle. It's like,
I'll 71.
Yeah, I'm not going. I said, you know what? We know how old we are. We want something that's going to uplift us. And to a certain degree, skincare, I can understand it a bit more, where you have targeted skin concerns as you go down the path of life. But I don't like to say anti-aging. So, and I tell that to all brands. It's like, I'm never going to use that word, So you can take that out of your lexicon.
So TikTok came to you. It's a big thing. Were you happy?
I was super excited that they noticed me. And out of that came the relationship with L'Oreal. And so I've been invited to their 65th anniversary, which is a big thing for L'Oreal. They're having a big party the November 1st. So I've been invited to that party.
What are you wearing?
I don't know, but I want a brand to sponsor me. So I have to find a brand that's going to dress me.
Is it hard to find a brand?
Yes,
Tell us
surprisingly
why.
so. I feel because, for example, certain brands, they want to project this image that they're like Gen Z or millennials are the only people who wear their brand, when in reality, for example, Aritzia, you don't see any older women in their advertising campaigns or their social media. You only see 20-year-old, maybe 30-year-old women in their ad campaigns. You know, they generally use influencers.
Well, we shop there.
I shop there. But it's like they don't want to maybe they're afraid that the younger
getting
generation.
old?
But what's really interesting is that when you look at my demographics on TikTok, I have a lot of younger followers who are inspired by what I'm doing, who feel like I'm taking away the stigma and the fear of aging, that you can still look really good, you can still have a great life, you can have a youthful spirit as you go down this path of life. So I think they don't understand that I'm not only appealing to 65-year-old women, I appeal to all kinds of women.
Because you teach.
Yeah.
You teach with your heart.
Yeah.
You give out what you have to offer. You discuss with your audience. You talk to them. You reply to them. You're very there. So it's not
Because I
even
guess-
about your age anymore.
No, they're my community. They're my tribe. I really consider them my friends. And in fact, I've met many of my followers in person, where they've reached out to me, say, let's have dinner. Or, they see me, in the mall and they stop me, said, oh my God, I follow you on TikTok or Instagram. I want to tell you what a good job you're doing. And I love it. I love when I connect in real life with my followers. But I feel it's important because I've always been very authentically myself. Even during this period where a lot of content creators, what happened October 7th,
Yeah.
there was an attack in
Yes.
Israel. And because of social media, it was like
It's very
basically
sad.
streamed live to show the rape and murder of children and women. And how anyone cannot condemn that. How can you be human and not condemn that? And I find it that, a lot of people are very uncomfortable to put a stance because it is a polarizing issue. You've got, Palestinians on one side, Israelis on the other side. I'm a human being. I actually have empathy for the Palestinians who are being starved, or, that Hamas has really, they're not protecting their people. They're using them as a shield to create horror. You do not get your message across by killing women and children. It's just
Raping them,
and raping
burning them.
But to see people not wanting to speak up because of fear of losing followers or losing contracts, I can't help myself. I have always spoken from my heart. I've always said authentically. Sometimes maybe I don't say the right thing, but the same thing, it's always authentically who I am. And so I felt compelled, especially as a Jewish woman, I needed to speak my piece, to raise my voice, to show my support.
You should.
And
Your father went through this.
Yeah, I mean, he lived through I'm the child of Holocaust.
We had this
survivors.
conversation.
Exactly. So if you think that this can't happen again today, there is so much a rise in anti-Semitism. When you think about, for example, Harvard students wrote a letter supporting Hamas. It's like these are educated young adults who are the future of our...
Scary.
It's really scary. Or Black Lives Matter. There was a chapter in Chicago and LA that also wrote their support of Hamas. There were a lot of Jewish people who could see, what happened to the Black community. We didn't think it was right to kill George Floyd, and we supported the Black Lives Matter movement. And to see them now in return say, no, we're not going to support you in return.
It's sad.
It's super sad to see the lack of empathy, or to see that people think that supporting Palestinians means that you have to, kill Jews.
No.
Hamas's, doctrine is not about a state of establishing freedom for their people. It's about killing Jews, if you really read their doctrine. So it is a scary time. One of their leaders went
Because you don't know where they're going to stop.
And you don't know, I'm just saying, there's been a lot of rallies there was a call to jihad to this Friday, October 13th, which is kind of horrible. It's Friday the 13th, to rise up and basically do acts of, violence against Jewish community on Friday the 13th worldwide. So now we're all sitting here thinking we can't go out, we can't show our faith, we can't be going to houses of worship because we might be in danger. I don't want to live my life that way. I want to live my life openly. I want to be living I truly respect everyone, whether their ethnicity, their color of their skin. I don't care. I welcome everyone as part of my community because that's who I am. And, whether people give that to me in return, I've had to block people on my social media.
Tell me, how do you react? You
I
block?
I only block people who basically write disturbing messages. I don't mind discourse. Like if you want to tell me why you think, I should be supporting Hamas or the Palestinian people, but you do it in a logical, way, I'm okay to have a discourse. It's okay for you to have different opinions than my opinion. But if you're disrespectful or you're violent or but if you cannot condemn the violence that you saw with your own eyes, it was like watching George Floyd being choked to death by a police officer.
Terrible.
If you can't condemn that kind of violence, I don't know what kind of humanity you have in you.
You have none.
That, for me, if you cannot at least acknowledge that that was not right, that is violence, and I can't condemn that kind of violence. And when they say Israel has, done the same thing to Palestinians, I said, show me physical videos. You can't. Yes, they are bombing Palestine right now, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer. I'm not a politician. I would never want to sit in a politician's shoes right now to figure this out. Is it my role as a social media content creator, to talk about political things? No. I only talk about things, how it makes me feel emotionally from my soul. And I'm hurt right now.
Yes.
And I'm sad. And,
I'm so sorry.
Even though I don't know these people, they're my community. You know what I mean? So you can't
But you don't have to be Jewish to understand the pain that people are going through. I mean, when you are burning people alive, no matter what color or style or who you are, it will come and get you.
I know, but when people have debates, because on TikTok, they're much more...
How do you feel about the debate about everything on TikTok?
You have to have a very strong character.
I'm just learning that.
Okay, because people will be cruel. And you have to, people, you're ugly, you're an old hag. I mean...
How do you deal with that?
I just ignore it. I ignore it. It's like... So
but
what? I said, you're going to get old too one day. So
do you reply?
Yeah, sometimes I used to in the beginning. I was I used to answer them on video and saying, I noticed you don't have a picture on your profile. So are you really ugly? Is that why? So I was poking the bear. Now I don't bother. I just ignore it. But you know what? When I see people saying, well, it wasn't 40 babies, it was one baby that was decapitated. One baby being decapitated is one too many. So what do you care? I'm just saying that's not human behavior.
No.
And if you can't condemn that, you're sitting on the wrong side of the law.
Yes, you are.
So I just God will basically, tell you that this is not right.
Do you think that being on the social media with a voice like yours could make a difference?
I hope it does. I do feel I've made a difference when, women, come up to me in person and say, thank you for doing what you're doing. We really appreciate it. I've learned so much. You've made me feel more confident to do my makeup. You've made me feel more confident to wear certain clothes. I get so much, it feeds me as much as it feeds them. So I get as much from them as I love doing it. And it's truly a labor of love. I'm doing it for no pay, so I guess it is a labor of love.
I told you,
it is
love.
Truly a labor of love. And I have to believe that one day it will,
it's coming.
It's coming.
It's
I feel
coming.
it. I'm manifesting it.
No, but it is coming because there's no way you would have lasted this long.
I know.
You're passionate about what you say and how important it is. And every morning, very early, you're out there like me, and you go on your platform and you say what you have to say. Why do you choose more Instagram or TikTok? Is it planned or you just open whatever?
I have chosen probably to prioritize TikTok only because I think it's a platform, because it's not a platform of just only the people who follow you. because you're on the For You page, anyone who is interested in your content might listen or might join in the conversation. So it's not just like a small group of people who are following you. Also, I started on Instagram pretty late, and I do feel it's very hard to grow organically on Instagram unless you pay to play. You know what I mean? Like you buy ads to promote your content. Versus on TikTok, I grew very fast, very quickly.
How quick?
So 2 years ago, I was like, I remember being excited when I got to 5,000 followers. I was like, oh my God, I
I'm
got
excited with 1,000.
Yeah, now I'm at 70,000. And
I
that
know.
all happened in 2 years.
How? Did you watch every day? Did you learn? Did you go take a class? Did you
No, there was
do
no class.
research?
You know what? The thing about social media, it is so fast moving. So in the beginning, TikTok was all about dancing, lip syncing, all of that kind of stuff.
I remember.
Now it's much more about talking. It's much more about having a conversation, or it's entertainment, or it's news. So it's sharing knowledge or how to or education.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did it because I was observing. I'm very observant. So I was observing like what the changes were occurring, and I was adjusting my content as I saw the changes evolve on the platform. But I feel like because I'm much more raw, I feel TikTok appreciates that kind of content creator versus being more polished, perfection. I feel like I don't appreciate the people who are using filters all the time in Instagram, because there was a lot of use of people like masking their skin, making people believe that they looked better than they actually looked. I've always said, no, I'm not going to use a filter. You're going to see me. Some days I look better. Some days I look like shit. But that's real life. You know what I mean? I'm always not going to hide how I look, the imperfections that I have. And so somebody once came up to me in real life and they said, you look just like your TikTok. I said, what did you expect me to look like? Or you look better, or your skin looks really good. Like they were so shocked and surprised that I actually looked like.
Because they're used to that. The youngest generation always.
They're used to being deceived. But that's what I feel is disappointing, because you can never live up to these, false images. You know what I mean?
So every morning you get up.
Yeah.
Let's say you don't feel like it.
There are days when I don't.
What do? Do you still oblige yourself to go and tell them that you don't feel good and you're going to come back when you feel better? Or you can be 2 days without no content, dead
No, I
silence?
can't. I don't know. Something compels me. And also, like, this week I haven't felt very creative and motivated because of all the circumstances.
But you don't need to, because you're talking with your heart. All week I watched you.
Yeah.
All week I listened, and I'm going to still, because, I need to watch you.
Yeah.
To learn what. And I saw that this was such a, with all
It was a
understanding-
burden.
It is, and it's going to be. And it's
But
normal.
but I created content, and some people say, well, why are you doing this, during this very heavy time period? And I said, because we all need a distraction. We
Yes.
can't just be 24/7 watching the news and watching these horrible images, because you know what? We need to protect our mental health. And I need to protect my mental health. And
Did you
so-
go do sport? Because you told me you keep your mental health a lot with the
Yes.
sport. Did you?
Yes.
More than usual?
Not more than usual, but I what, I'm very disciplined. I think that was the one thing that the most positive thing that came out of COVID is I improved my fitness like tenfold, because I was exercising every single day, and there were all these content creators doing lives on Instagram. So I was working out all the time. And even after we came out of COVID, I really felt so good. I wanted to keep it up. Like, honestly, I lost like at least 2 jean size. I used to be like a 27, and now I'm like a 24 or 25, So I felt like, I got into such good physical shape. I'm in better physical shape than when I was, in my 40s. So because I'm much more active, I take better care of myself. So yeah, and I want to share that with people, like to say, this is how I cope. Some people drink, I go work out, I get dressed every morning, I put my face on. That's what makes me feel I can face the world.
So if I remove the social media for the whole week, no phone, what would happen to you?
I'd go a little nuts.
Did you try?
Have I ever tried? No. Honestly, no.
We missed you if you do.
You know what? I just feel like it's a natural extension. I'm one of those personalities that like to share, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. So it's kind of like organic for me. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like I'm putting on an act. I think some people on social media, they're different in their real life than they are on camera. For me, there's no difference. If you met me off camera, I'm the same person as
But
I
I
am
can
on
say
camera.
it now
So
because
yeah,
now I met you for real.
yeah,
I met you over the phone. I met you on camera, and you are the same. And
exactly.
that's good. What New York changed in your life by going to New York? What did you learn? What is it made the difference when you came back to
I
Quebec?
think you gain independence when you travel. I think you gain in culture and
Hmm.
exposure to different people, different environments. The United States is very different. I think people in Canada think the US and Canada are similar.
Not,
No,
no,
they're
no, no,
not.
no.
Especially New York. I think it's such a unique place. It's so fast paced. It's so exciting. There's so much,
You're never lonely in
you're
New
never
York.
lonely. There's so much stimuli. You're always looking. There's lights, there's restaurants, there's stores, there's people.
Pilates at night, yoga
There's
at night.
everything. And I loved it. I have no regrets. If I won the lottery, I think I would buy an apartment in New York.
Me too. Let's go
Yeah.
back.
Let's
We're
go back.
going now.
Exactly.
Growing up, you were the only child
Hmm.
and you were a lot lonely. You were very close to your parents. When your dad and mom passed away, how did you manage all that? Because now you were really alone. We don't see you with too many members of your family on social
I
media.
don't have, I have a very small circle of relatives. Like I only have my cousins, like my first cousins. My aunt and uncle passed away because they were older. I don't have a huge extended family because even my family have a small family. Um, my father had his first heart attack when I was 5 years old. He also married my mother late in life. He was 50 when he met my mother, who was, I think, 38. So he, after the war, emigrated to Canada. And then he went on vacation to Israel and he met my mother there, who emigrated from Romania after the war to Israel. So she didn't come directly to Canada. She came to Canada only after she met my father. And she felt like, I don't know if it was a love match, but I think she felt like, 38 was old back then to not be married and be childless. And so I think when he was like there and they were match made together, she felt compelled to like marry him. Did she have this love match with him? I don't think so. But she fell in love and she had a child, she had me, and I think that was her sort of like I felt truly loved by my mother. You know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah.
very close to my mother. I was close to my father, but I don't think I was as close to him. He was a man who, had a lot of unhappiness in his life. And he didn't really talk about his experience of the war. He was shot, like he fought on the Russian front. He was shot. He emigrated his brother, who lost his whole first family. They lost their
It's
parents,
a lot of
and
pain.
there was a lot of pain. And when my uncle emigrated to Canada, he remarried, and he lost his firstborn child to a freak accident, like a baseball hit her in the head on the mountain. So even my uncle was like never got really close to his kids. So I felt my father was like, like he didn't want to get too close just in case there was more loss. He was loving in his own way.
Yes.
He always used to bring me a chocolate bar and I'd have to guess what pocket it was in, like, Kit Kat or, Coffee Crisp.
Just to go back to your work of influencer, do you refuse brands sometimes?
Yes.
Why?
If it doesn't align with, my values, or I would not pay money of my own money to use that product.
What do you mean, pay by your own money?
For example, if I have no interest to actually buy that product on my own, like it's a
Okay.
product I would never buy with my own money, I don't want to promote it. Because again, I think I've built my community about the fact that I'm super authentic. I say good and bad things about brands that, even the ones that gift me. I always say, if I like it, I'm going to say positive things. If I don't, I might
How
not
do
talk
they
about it.
react?
I think they're used to it today, because that's, what did they say? All press is good press, even
Yeah.
when you say something negative. It's an opportunity to learn and improve, So that's part of it.
The ego must be very big, though, when you tell the truth to someone. Do they
I try
come
to
back?
do it. No, but I try to do it in a diplomatic fashion.
There's no way to say if it's not good, it's not good.
No, but for example, I have a hard time with all this like Amazon clothing. I've tried to purchase clothing on Amazon. I have never had any product that I find really worth. It's so cheap. It's like it self-destructs in like 2 seconds.
Are you like me, like to go in the store and touch it and
Yes,
see it?
yes. But I'm just saying, so I'm not an Amazon influencer. Like it was just the last 2 days were Amazon Prime. You can make a lot of money from affiliate links on Amazon, or that they pay you to do their lives. But I just, like there are certain things that I think Amazon are good to buy. Like, if you want a replenishment of some sort of beauty product, it's good to get it on Amazon, or electronics or household, knickknacks, things that you need.
That you can replace
Yeah.
quickly.
So it's not that I have a thing against Amazon, but from a fashion perspective, I don't think they do fashion that well.
Are you happy today at 60 years old to be an influencer and with that success? What made you?
I'm happy. You know what? I feel like I've grown a lot. I've become much more comfortable in my skin. I feel when I look back at some of my older photos, like from 2 years ago, I feel like I'm so much better at taking my photography than I was in these early days. I used to like click my shots, and now I use Lens Buddy, so I don't have to worry about like clicking. So I actually have gained a lot of knowledge of editing skills. I use CapCut. I can like edit something like really quickly. So I feel like I've gained a lot of knowledge. I feel like I've done better content lately. So I'm proud of myself because I feel like I've accomplished something.
You should be.
And like I said, I've grown this community of women that, I feel like really vested in terms of protecting that franchise. And I feel like they feed me back a lot of support. So like I've gone on camera and sometimes I've had a good cry, that I felt very vulnerable. And I think, they appreciate that I'm so vulnerable that I would cry on camera.
Absolutely.
So everything that I'm feeling is generally, I have no discomfort to kind of go on camera and share it.
When you get dressed in the morning, because I'm curious about that, you go outside.
Yeah.
You film, you take your picture and all this,
Yeah.
you get back in. Do you change a couple times in the day, in the same day?
Sometimes.
Because Saturday is like content day and then you edit everything. How long does it take to edit something?
Probably 15 minutes.
Oh,
I'm really quick.
God.
But
You master that thing.
But I will tell you, I'm not so good at pre-planning. So I usually like wake up and like I just decide in the morning what I'm going to do as content. I don't really plan it. Like I don't say I'm going to do all my filming on the weekend. Like even when I was working a full-time job, I was filming every single day. Sometimes it was during my lunch hour, I would film my content, you know what I mean? Or it was first thing in the morning or when I came home from work. I'm like, it's very organic to me. Okay, it might be an unboxing because I get a lot of PR. It might be a get ready with me. It might be, the list. I love doing fashion content about what's happening in the fashion world, designers and, designer stores. So I did this whole thing, about the top 10 items from the list, that might be surprising. And I did it a little bit in a humorous way because, it's me. Mm-hmm. I always like give it my Roslyn kind of thing.
The last question, we're already there.
Oh, wow.
5 years from now, what are you doing?
Hopefully I'm on a beach in Miami Beach.
Okay.
You know what? I am a warm actually, maybe I'd love to go back to Barcelona and buy a house there. I love Barcelona. I love Spain. I love Europe. I love the whole feel, you know what I mean? That it's so sophisticated, it's cultural. But I love warm weather. I am not built for cold winter, despite the fact that
Still do the influence?
Yes. I think it's so part of my life that I love sharing it. I feel like to me, I could be on the Real Housewives or something, because I feel like
that's you.
That's me.
It's now other you.
We should have the Real Housewives of Montreal.
I know. I thought about it
Don't
for a
you
long.
think?
Yes.
I love watching the Real Housewives of New York, especially Jenna Lyons.
Yeah.
I love her. I think she's so cool. You know what I mean? And Say, who is a content creator in real life. You know what I mean?
So we will see you in 5 years, but I will see you much before because anything you have to share, please, and come and talk to me.
Okay.
I want to thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure, Mia.
I really loved meeting you, and we have so much to talk.
I know.
And I'm sure we will see each other again. Thank you.
Thank you.